It all started on what seemed like a regular afternoon in our quiet neighborhood. My daughter had just come over to drop something off. Nothing unusual. She parked outside the house, like she's done 100 times before. But within minutes, 2 HOA security guards approached her, acting way more aggressive than the situation called for. They started questioning her, asking what she was doing here, and then things got tense, fast. One of them actually pulled a gun on my daughter, right there on the sidewalk. What they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, is that my daughter isn't just anyone. She's a retired Delta Force operator. Yeah, one of the most elite units in the military. She's been through more real-world threats than most people can imagine, and let's just say she's not the kind of person to panic easily. But in that moment, she had a decision to make: diffuse the situation or let instinct take over. I was watching everything unfold from the front porch, frozen. You'd think something like this couldn't happen in a neighborhood with security. But here we were, face to face with people who clearly had no idea who they were messing with. What happened next shocked all of us and changed how we look at neighborhood safety forever. To understand how things escalated so quickly, you have to know a little about our HOA. It's not just your average homeowners association. It's more like a self-declared security force with badges and walkie-talkies. A few of them take their roles way too seriously, almost like they're playing cops. We had small run-ins before, tickets for leaving trash cans out too long, warnings about lawn height, but nothing even close to what happened that day. My daughter, even though she's retired now, still carries herself like someone who's always aware of her surroundings. She noticed how one of the guards kept his hand close to his sidearm from the moment he approached. The other was pacing behind her, trying to box her in. She stayed calm, but I could see the look in her eyes. She was analyzing everything, like she was back on a mission. They kept pressing her with questions, asking for ID, asking why she was here, even though her face has been seen around the neighborhood for years. It wasn't just over the top, it felt targeted. And the weirdest part, they never even rang the doorbell or came to me, just straight to confrontation. At this point, my daughter hadn't said much. She was letting them talk, but I knew something in her had just switched. And that's when things started getting really intense. From the porch, I could see my daughter shift her stance just slightly, not aggressive, but steady, controlled. It was something I'd seen before, in little moments when she was still active duty. The guards didn't notice, though. They were too caught up in their performance, still trying to assert control. One of them even raised his voice, accusing her of trespassing on her own father's property. The tension was so thick, I could barely breathe. What really got under my skin was how confident they were, like they believed they had every right to act like this, even though there was no real threat. I wondered if this was personal, if they had a reason for singling her out. She drives an older Jeep, nothing flashy. Maybe they assumed she didn't belong here. Or maybe, deep down, they didn't like the idea of someone who didn't immediately bow to their authority. Meanwhile, a few neighbors had started peeking through blinds. No one came out, though. It was like they didn't want to get involved. Or maybe they were afraid of these so-called guards, too. My daughter finally spoke, her voice low and even. "You're making a mistake," she said. "No yelling, no threats, just that." And the way she said it, even I felt it, but they didn't back down. And then something unexpected happened. The guard with the gun didn't move it, but he kept his finger near the trigger. My daughter's eyes never left him, and I could see the wheels turning in her mind. She knew the risks. Things could get out of hand in an instant, and once a gun's drawn, there's no taking it back. Her body language was calm, but there was an edge to her that I hadn't seen in years. She was calculating. Every word, every movement was deliberate. The other guards started getting agitated, pacing back and forth. "Why are you refusing to cooperate?" he demanded. His tone was growing more hostile, but my daughter remained unmoved. It was almost like she was letting him dig himself deeper into this mess. Her calmness was throwing them off, and I could see their confidence starting to crack. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. Part of me wanted to step in, to shout and stop this madness, but I knew better. I wasn't trained for this, she was, and whatever was about to happen, I had to trust her. The neighbors were still watching, but no one dared step forward. It felt like we were all just waiting for something to break. Then suddenly, one of the guards lunged toward her. In that instant, everything froze. Time seemed to stretch as she instinctively took a step back, her hand moving faster than I could follow. The next moment, I heard the unmistakable sound of a gun cocking. But it wasn't her hand, it was his. And that's when it hit me. This was far from over. The sound of the gun cocking hit like a punch to the gut. It wasn't her. It was the other guard, his finger on the trigger, and his eyes wild with panic. The gun was aimed straight at my daughter. My heart skipped a beat, and for a split second, everything around me went silent. In that moment, I saw a flicker in her eyes, a split second of something darker, sharper, like she was weighing her options. And then, just as quickly, the unexpected happened. Without warning, a first guard, who'd been standing there, stone-faced, dropped his hand and turned away. He was muttering something under his breath, like he'd just realized something he hadn't before, and that's when I saw it, a badge, partially hidden under his jacket, glinting in the sunlight. It wasn't an HOA badge. It wasn't anything official at all. It was something else, something that didn't belong. My mind raced. Who were these people? Why were they here? My daughter could sense it too. She locked eyes with me for a fraction of a second, and I saw the realization hit her. This wasn't just an overzealous guard or a simple misunderstanding. This was bigger than that. These weren't just people trying to protect a neighborhood. They were hiding something, and whatever it was about to blow up. The guard who had aimed the gun hesitated, lowering it just a fraction, like he didn't know if he should go forward or retreat. The silence stretched, taut with tension, and then it happened. The second guard looked up, his face changing, an expression I couldn't place. Something shifted in him. He raised his hand, not as a threat, but as a signal. Before I could blink, more figures emerged from the shadows, closing in from all sides. This was no longer just a confrontation. It was a trap, and we were all caught in it. The air was thick with uncertainty as the new figures closed in. My heart pounded in my chest, but my daughter stayed as still as a statue, her eyes scanning every new movement, every shift in the crowd. She didn't flinch when the first figure stepped forward. She didn't need to. This wasn't just a fight, it was a chess game, and she was already 3 moves ahead. The figures who had appeared weren't just random people. They were wearing the same unofficial gear, dark and tactical. But there was something in the way they moved, like they knew each other. This wasn't some random neighborhood dispute. This was organized. My stomach dropped. One of them, a tall man with a scar running across his cheek, walked directly up to my daughter. His eyes locked onto hers, and for a moment there was a silent understanding between them. "You should have stayed out of this," he said, his voice low but chilling.